Hello, my name is Duncan and welcome to Backwards Donkey and Baffed Books. I've had problems getting my brain into the mind of doing booktube videos again. It's just one of these things. So I thought I'd start with a tag. And I was tagged by Big Al Does Booktube, and as Al was kind enough to tag me, I thought I'd do it. And as we know with Al, he sits in this velvet lined room with his deerstalker on, smoking a huge pipe while he's reading. So we all know he does that. So if you've not been across to see that in action, just link below and you can pop across to his channel. Sorry, didn't know what I'm saying. I said I'm hopefully recording a couple of videos today, so hopefully this one is the first one, so it's probably going to be a little more raw. So I'm going to do the currently reading tag, and I'm not sure who originally started this. If I find out, I will tag them below. So I wrote it on my piece of paper. No, I didn't. So I've got the prompts here, and we will just slowly go through them. So the currently reading tag. So the first prompt is, how many books do you read at once? I can read from 1 to, I had about 7 or 8 going the other month. At the moment I've got, I think it's 4. I've normally got a book of short stories going. And at the moment I've got the SF collection, which I searched off because it had a Fit Rose Farmer story that was published in a magazine, and it's the only other place I could find it. At the moment I'm on a Edward Page Mitchell story called The Clock That Went Backward, which is one of the time travel stories that was way before H.G. Wells, and is really quite interesting. And Edward Page Mitchell, if you don't know, wrote loads of short stories, and there's a few collections of his work around. Nobody really discovered until the early 70s. But yeah, so that's one of the books I'm reading. The other one, my main book, is bizarrely not a science fiction book for a change. It's Bernard Cornwell's Fools and Mortals, which, if you saw my last pick and mix, I only picked this up and it just intrigued me. And I am really having some fun with this book. Bernard Cornwell, his research is, I believe, is just incredible, and it's basically about the theatre in Elizabethan times, and Shakespeare's brother is accused of stealing a script, and it's all dirty and very, very interesting. And I'm really having some fun with this book. And I said, at the moment I couldn't recommend it high enough, and it's just a one-off for Bernard Cornwell, unlike all these other series. Next one I've had going for, of the 4 I'm reading, I've had going for quite a few months actually, which is Nova Hellas, which is a bunch of translated Greek science fiction stories from some newish writers, which is quite interesting. I was in search of some a while ago. I would have bought the proper copy, the physical copy, but I have to read it on my Kindle because it was too expensive, and I managed to get some free credits on my Kindle, and so I have to read it on the Devil device. And the other thing I've been reading since the beginning of the year, just slowly going through, is Yesterday's Tomorrow's, the story of classic British science fiction in 100 books, which is like a non-fiction, and it's Mike Ashley is a great writer, putting all these stories and novels into context, which is really good. So yes, I'm reading 4 there. I have read up to 7 or 8, which can get a bit out of hand, but I've normally got at least 3 or 4 on the go. I very rarely only have the one. So now question 2. If you're reading more than one book at a time, how do you decide to switch to reading to the other book? Do you read a certain amount of pages each, for example? Well, I just, whatever takes me. I've normally got one sort of main book on the go, which at the moment is the Bernard Cornwell. So that's the one I'm reading most of daily. And the other ones I sort of dip in and out, and like the short stories, I like having a book of short stories on the go because you can dip in and out of those quite a lot. So it's just sort of how the mood takes me. And sometimes what I will find is I will get, if I'm struggling with a book, I'll get bored of a book and I may start another book, and then that one takes over, and so that one might take a backseat because I do not finish books. There's a chance it could be sitting around for quite a few months for me to finish it, but I will finish it. Because I said I've found before books have come together in the last 50 to 100 pages. Excuse me, I just got to scratch my nose. So yeah, that's how my reading works out. Next question. Do you ever switch bookmarks when you're partway through a book? No. Why would you? Why would you do that? Unless you've lost one. But no. Where do you keep the book you're currently reading? It normally sits around, it's either in the lounge, which is that way, or I've got a reading chair over there, which at the moment has got the Vicious Attack Yorkie sleeping on it. Hello, little man. There's a little table by that chair, which is my little sort of reading book nook, and it sits there. Also, I've got a couple of shelves above there, which also have some other books, which I might be sort of doing some stuff through. What time of day do you spend the most time reading, and how long do you typically read in one go? I normally got a couple of sections of read. I normally try to read in the morning, normally between 11 and midday. I'm at home 99% of the time because I care for my wife. So I am able to do that. And the other thing is, late at night, I will sort of, just before bed, I will try and do a bit. Normally late at night is normally half hour, 40 minutes. Earlier in the day, hopefully it's an hour. But it depends. Some days I will only manage to fit one of those sessions in, or only fit about 15 minutes in. Depends how busy I am. Next question is, do you read hardcovers with dust jacket on or off? And which position do you mainly use to read? Well, it all depends with the dust jackets. Most of my books I like to read paperbacks, which is my favourite format. But this one, for example, I've put, if you can see, I've put on a protective cover. So that protective cover holds it all in place like that, so I can leave the dust jacket on. If I haven't put one of those on, I would take the dust jacket away. But yeah, I've seen people put these on weirdly so that that's all flapping loose, but I don't understand why they do that. But hey, but that's what I normally do with a hardcover. And I said put one of these on. These are quite cheap. If anybody wants to know how I do it or what have you, I could always do a video, but that's what I normally do with my hardcovers. And next, there's a second part of this question, isn't there? What position do you mainly use to read? Normally I'm sat in a chair, or I'm sat in the lounge, and I normally just in a normal sitting position. Occasionally I may lie down in bed and read, but not very often. Very, very rarely. Do you take the book you're currently reading everywhere you go? Well, as I spend most of my time in my house, it's with me most of the time. If I do go out somewhere, I may take a book with me. It just depends. And I normally, maybe, depending on where I'm going, it could likely be one on the Kindle, just because it's easier. As much as they're the work of the devil. Number 10. How often do you update your progress on GoodReads? It can vary. Sometimes once a day, sometimes once a week. I've frequently done books that I've started and finished, then did the complete update on GoodReads at the same time. It's just whatever. GoodReads is a horribly designed platform, so it's if somebody just put a little bit of time into the web design, it would be great, but they don't. So yeah, it can depend. I'm not sort of obsessive about it. I just like to, it's just to keep a track of how many books I've read a year. But then I do that anyway because I keep a spreadsheet as well, because I'm a bit like that. And the final question, actually that was the final question. Who would you like to tag? As it seems to be that everybody seems to have done this, I'm gonna, if you're watching this and you've not done it, I tag you. That's, I think, easy to go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed those questions and answers, and thank again to Al for tagging me in that, and I will speak to you all again very soon, and I'm just going to record another video now. Bye bye.